Holistic veterinarian Dr. Judy Morgan is on a mission to open pet owners' eyes to the benefits of homemade food. Her new book, Yin and Yang, Nutrition for Dogs, Maximizing Health with Whole Foods, Not Drugs, is available now, and she joins us with how you can start adding that personal touch to your pet's diet. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're happy to have you here. We need to introduce your lap mates here. We've got George and Pookie, and Pookie is almost sound asleep right now.
They sleep a lot.
She's not super excited about a television appearance today.
She says I'm a star.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that calm nature of hers probably has a little bit to do with the nutrition that she eats. So let's start off with, you've been a veterinarian now for many years.
34 years.
And after a while, it just kind of, you started to see a trend here in how we were over-medicating and not underfeeding, but under-nutritioning.
Yes. Poor quality nutrition is the problem. And we have had so many recalls in the pet food industry. Most recently, the vitamin D toxicity resulted in the recall of a lot of foods. We've had pentobarbital, which is euthanasia solution in pet foods. And so by making your own food, you control the quality of the ingredients, and if you can afford grass-fed, organic, free-range, great. If you can't, you still at least know what's going in there, and you can avoid the toxins.
Right.
And the other thing is that we use food for healing. So food, it's true that you are what you eat.
Right.
Food is the foundation of life. So the better the quality that goes in, the better the health of the animals.
Right.
And so we are looking to change the longevity. In the 1970s, the average life expectancy for a golden retriever was 17 years. It is now 10 years.
Wow.
And a lot of that has to do with the overuse of chemicals and the poor quality nutrition. Pet food has changed a lot over the past few decades, and not for the better necessarily, although we are seeing a huge trend toward using human-grade ingredients and moving toward better nutrition for them, thankfully.
Yeah, and you have a term that I think you've coined, food therapy. Tell me about that.
Well, I did not coin that, actually.
No.
So that is a traditional Chinese veterinary medicine food therapy, and I'm actually certified in veterinary food therapy. And so everything that we eat has an effect on the body. So if you can think about it, if you eat a spicy food, it'll add heat to your body. You'll sweat.
Yeah.
And for us, sweating is a way to cool off. For these guys, if we gave them something hot and spicy or energetically warming, it would make them pant and be uncomfortable. The reverse of that is if we have animals that have chronic inflammatory diseases that make them hot, make them pant, make them seek out the cold tile floors, they want to go sit outside in the snow, we can actually feed foods that will help cool down the body from the inside so that they're not struggling all the time.
Right. So if people are going to be feeding or cooking for their pets, we've got about a minute left in this segment. Tell me about some of the ones that obviously they need to avoid, and then we can talk about the ones that we encourage in the next segment.
Okay, so grapes, raisins, onions, chocolate, caffeine, alcohol, raw bread dough, yeast products, anything with xylitol, very toxic for our pets.
Right. There is a very comprehensive list of this too on the ASPCA website, just in case if anybody's wanting the entire list of that. ASPCA has all of that. And like I said, we are going to have you stick around. We're going to do actually a little cooking and kind of give some examples of some foods that you can feed. And I just want to say, with everything, always talk with your own veterinarian, about making it complete and balanced and all that. And and we'll be right back. So everybody stick around. Dr. Judy is going to stick around with us to show us how to prepare a homemade meal that your pet is sure to love. And welcome back to the Pet Show. Dr. Judy Morgan just shared several of the benefits of homemade pet food, and now she's whipping up a signature recipe from her new book, Yin and Yang, Nutrition for Dogs. So we are going to go just immediately into this. We've got our little French chefs here. They're the chefs as well as the taste testers. All right, so tell me where to get started. We're going to do a little recipe.
So we're making a cooling recipe for those dogs that are too hot and panting. So these foods will help cool them down. So we have a pound of ground pork.
Okay.
And we can do without that.
All right.
Okay, we have a half cup of cooked barley.
Okay.
And barley is cooling and draining. It helps with the kidneys. And this is kale. Kale is a wonderful superfood. It's dark leafy green, which is really good for liver health. So we've we've got about 2 ounces of that ground up. This is 2 ounces of liver, chicken liver, that we ground up. That gives us some really good vitamin A, vitamin D that's not found in the muscle meat.
Okay.
And then we have butternut squash. There's 4 ounces of squash that we've ground up.
Yum.
Yum, yum. So I like to color the rainbow when I make my recipes.
It's a very colorful recipe.
Because that gives us all of our vitamins that we want. This is ground asparagus, so there's 2 ounces of asparagus. Again, excellent for the kidneys. And then we're going to crack 2 eggs in there.
All right. All right. Let's see if I can do this without making a hot mess. There we go.
And the eggs are going to give us fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K in the egg yolk, and then super protein in the egg white. So I like to use eggs in most of my recipes. Unless you have a pet who's allergic to eggs, this is excellent.
Okay. So now we are going to stir all this up.
Stir all that up, and we would put that into a couple of different things.
Okay.
Whoops. We could put it in a loaf pan.
All right.
So then we would end up with a meatloaf.
Okay.
Cookie says it looks pretty good.
And do you cook this?
Yes. So
okay.
this one is cooked. You could feed this raw.
Okay.
But this has been cooked into a meatloaf. This went in the oven for about 40 minutes at 350. We can make it into what we call puffins. These are little 4-ounce cakes, which for this
hand it over.
For this little 15-pound dog, she would get about 6 ounces a day. So 1.5 of those. Or you can make them into little bite-sized 1-ounce treats.
Those are awesome. Let's go through a few more of the superfoods and what you recommend. This looks
this is the same exact ingredients. If you were going to put it in the crock pot, you could put it as chunks like this instead of having to grind it all up. And so this was what we started with as all of our raw ingredients.
That's beautiful.
So you can bake this in the oven. You can cook it in your slow cooker if that's easier for you to do. Or if you're a raw feeder, this recipe could be fed mixed up like that just as a raw meal.
Okay. And I see that you've got some other ingredients over here in order to make this complete and balanced.
So to have a complete and balanced meal, one of the things that is commonly left out of home-cooked meals is the calcium.
Okay.
Dogs have a higher calcium requirement than we do, and the meat is too high in phosphorus and low in calcium. So we could either grind up our eggshells and use those as our calcium, or there are some supplements on the market. I just brought a couple of Dr. Dobias makes Green Min and Soul Food, or RX Vitamins has K9 Minerals and RX Essentials, which is a vitamin powder. And then I will usually add, this is an omega-3 fish oil. I would use that once a day for our dogs, and that will make it pretty darn complete. And you can rotate through different meats, different vegetables, and have fun cooking for your dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually started doing this recently. I have very, very picky dogs, and so I do this as well. So we've got your books here. Where can people find your books?
On my website, drjudymorgan.com, or also on Amazon.
Okay, and they can also find some more information, I'm sure, on recipes and stuff there as well.
Yes, I have tons of videos, tons of recipes.
I absolutely love it. Will you please come back and do this again?
Oh, absolutely.